Hello, I am Simulated Erk and welcome to another episode of Train Sim World. And today is going to be my first look at a line that I have featured before on the Train Simulator series. This is the Arosa line that we'll be featuring today in Switzerland. It's a rather spectacular line. It's a little bit on the slow side. There's lots of hills, there's lots of curves, very spectacular scenery, lots of spectacular scenery even, and one that I'm very much looking forward to. It's a little bit of a difference between the UK lines that we've featured recently, also the couple of American lines and the German lines that are in Train Sim World. Having said that, you know, there are some things that will really stand out as being in Switzerland, and it also will have that general European feel. So come along for a nice ride. This is going to be my first look. I haven't used this line yet in Train Sim World. I haven't touched it. I haven't looked at any of the videos etc. that have been online, so come and join me as we ride the Arosa line in Switzerland. I'm Simulated Erk, this is Train Sim World. Personal views only, not a replacement for actual driving trains or actual training, and this is for entertainment purposes only. So here we are. This is a good sneak peek of what we're about to get ourselves into, the Arosa line in Switzerland. So let's go there right now. So we need to go into training because we haven't done any yet. So let's go. There is a line. This line is actually featured in Train Simulator, and we have featured it before on Simulated Erk in the Train Simulator playlist. However, the rolling stock is different. That's what we'll be driving on the Arosa line, a locomotive with some carriages. On Train Simulator, you drive a more modern electric multiple unit, and so it'll be keen to notice a difference. This is by Rivet Games. Now this is similar to the electric multiple unit that you can play on Train Simulator on the Arosa line. This is brought to us by Rivet Games, who also brought you the what was the name of that line? Oh, it'll come to me a little bit later.
Welcome to this introduction for the GE442 locomotive in RHB red livery. During this introduction, we will go through the following procedures: starting and stopping the locomotive, coupling, loading and unloading. Climb aboard to get started.
Alright, let's climb aboard. The Isle of Wight, that's what I was thinking of. The Isle of Wight, okay. I didn't know this was Bus Simulator. Bus Simulator! Let's see, how far can we go? Oh, we can actually walk to the bus. I was not expecting this. Hello bus, but not today. Alright. Now, I haven't been to Switzerland. It's one of the few European countries that I actually haven't spent any time in at all. It's not because I wouldn't want to go there, it's just I hadn't thought of going there, really. Well, there's a locomotive over there. That's probably the one we'll be working with. Okay, so we need to go over there now. So we'll walk through the snow. Beautiful winter's day. Have a look at the scenery. This is going to be good. Alright, no trains coming. Alright.
A lot of your time will be spent in the driver's seat.
Ah, thanks, Captain Obvious. Okay, so this would be fairly familiar to me, the way they're going through this, because it's Train Sim World and this is what you normally do. Alright, we're going to sit in the engineer's seat. Or the driver's seat.
Switch the master key to on to enable this cab for driving.
Okay. Master key.
The reverser
On.
controls the direction of travel when power is applied relative to the driver cabin view. Set the lever to forward now.
Forward.
Headlights are important in letting others around you know that this locomotive is operational. Set the lights to the correct configuration needed for this service.
Okay, so rear lights to 1. And because we're locomotive only, headlights select. Hang on. Front lights to 2.
The control wheel is split into 2 zones, Bremsen and Fahren.
What? And what? Set the control wheel to -20%. Am I going the right way? Yep. Okay, braking. -20%. Yeah, I've done that.
The train vacuum brake should be used to bring the locomotive to a stop when driving in a passenger or freight formation.
Okay, so what we're doing, setting the train vacuum to full service. Release.
The locomotive air brake only applies the brake on the locomotive. This should only be used when operating the locomotive without additional coupled vehicles.
Okay, so locomotive brake to release.
The Bremsen zone controls the locomotive's dynamic brake. The Fahren zone controls the power supplied to the traction motors and, depending on the weight of the train, also acts as a speed selector.
Okay, so set the control wheel to 1. Okay, so we're off and running. didn't apply the right brake. Because I was trying to control it the normal way that I do with the controller, but that wasn't quick enough.
Welcome to this introduction for the GE442 locomotive in RHB red livery. During this introduction, we will go through the following procedures: starting and stopping the locomotive, coupling, loading and unloading. Climb aboard to get started.
Well, I got to do the starting bit. I didn't really do much with the stopping bit. I'm just trying to walk a different way. But I've got to go across to the other platform anyway, apparently. Alright, so I'm supposed to cross here. Doesn't sound like I'm walking through snow though. I'm surprised it didn't do the normal thing. Look to the left, look to the right.
A lot of your time will be spent in the driver's seat.
Close the door. Sit in the seat. Alright.
Switch the master key to on to enable this cab for driving.
Okay.
The reverser controls the direction of travel when power is applied relative to the driver cabin view. Set the lever to forward now.
Forward.
Headlights are important in letting others around you know that this locomotive is operational. Set the lights to the correct configuration needed for this service.
Alright, rear lights to 1. So, rear lights to 1. 1. And front lights to 2.
The control wheel is split into 2 zones: Bremsen and Fahren. The train vacuum brake should be used to bring the locomotive to a stop when driving in a passenger or freight formation.
Alright. Hang on.
The locomotive air brake only applies the brake on the locomotive. This should only be used when operating the locomotive without additional coupled vehicles.
Hang on.
The Bremsen zone controls the locomotive's dynamic brake. The Fahren zone controls the power supplied to the traction motors and, depending on the weight of the train, also acts as a speed selector.
Alright, control wheel. Hang on. Control wheel to 1. Okay. Is there something I haven't done here? Okay, got to release the vacuum brake. much better now that I'm actually using the same type of brake for the whole braking manoeuvre. And then we'll just apply it again.
Now open the dispatch menu and contact the signaller to gain access to the occupied siding.
Okay. I think that's a tab. Yeah, contact signaller. Proceed at restricted speed. Radio. There's like 10 notches on this thing. Ten notches of power by the looks of it for the power zone. Now, do you want me to go straight on? Let's have a look. Only going to hit at slow speed. No, I don't think that was what I needed to do. That didn't work. Just says coupled a vehicle, so we'll take the brakes off. Haven't given me any guidance in how to couple this thing. Have we coupled? Don't think we have. Vehicle derailed. Are you going to tell me how to couple or what? Just go, just do it yourself and just try it out. We're not having a good day.
Welcome to this introduction for the GE442 locomotive in RHB red livery. During this introduction, we will go through the following procedures: starting and stopping the locomotive, coupling, loading and unloading. Climb aboard to get started.
Let's see, can we go down there? We got any stupid collectibles? Hope not. I hate those collectible things. Alright, let's go up the ramp.
A lot of your time will be spent in the driver's seat. Switch the master key to on to enable this cab for driving. The reverser controls the direction of travel when power is applied relative to the driver cabin view. Headlights are important in letting others around you know that this locomotive is operational. The control wheel is split into two zones, Bremsen and Fahren.
Alright, minus, hang on, control wheel. Minus 20%. Yep. Yeah, I've done it. Now what? That's the horn.
The train vacuum brake should be used to bring the locomotive to a stop when driving in a passenger or freight formation. The locomotive air brake only applies the brake on the locomotive. This should only be used when operating the locomotive without additional coupled wheel. The Bremsen zone controls the locomotive's dynamic brake. The Fahren zone controls the power supplied to the traction motors and, depending on the weight of the train, also acts as a speed selector.
2, 1, yep. Oh, there's effectively 20 notches because you got half steps as well.
Now open the dispatch menu and contact the signaller to gain access to the occupied siding.
Travel at restricted speed. Alright, so whoops, wrong way. Brake off. Little bit of power. It says couple of vehicles, it doesn't say 11, 10. I'm just pushing it. Oh, definitely pushed it then. Or pushed me back. Oh, because it didn't even explain that I had to go down here and do anything. We're a couple. Would have been nice to explain that. Only because of previous experience that I actually knew that. Oops, not that door. That door shut. And that door shut. Alright. Train vacuum. In neutral. Rear lights to 0 because we don't need them on anymore. Rear lights to 0. Front lights to 0 because they won't be the front lights in a moment. Take the key. And now we have, hopefully we can go straight through here rather than have to go outside, especially if it's snowy and rainy and all that sort of stuff. It appears not, so okay. Close the door. I was hoping you could walk through the entire loco, but seemingly not. Alright, so we'll climb. Climb up the steps. Close the door, get into the engineer seat, master key to on. Shouldn't even need rear lights unless it's the rear lights of the train now, not just the engine. Front lights to chew. Reverse it to forward. Vacuum brakes. Oops, vacuum brakes. To release. Locomotive brakes to release. And now we can outside. I've accidentally turned the frame rate counter off, on and off. There we go.
Press the door release button for the appropriate platform side to allow passengers to climb aboard.
Door release, right. That's alright. That's alright. So we're loading passengers. Have a look at what that looks like from the platform side. Okay. All right, locked doors. So we need to get in the cab for that. Doors release, right. Doors locked. Alright, our doors are locked. We can take our this is the on-road section. So this is an on-road section where people can drive as well. So this is like a tramway section or a light rail section, really. So it's not high speed by any stretch of the moment. 6.5 kilometres for our next stop. This assumes that you are already familiar with Train Sim World and that you have used it before and that this isn't your first rodeo. 6 section, considering you're basically on a road, but spectacular scenery. I don't know whether this is like in real life, but it's certainly well modelled. So from what I can remember from the train simulator, it's not necessarily high speed. So while it's only a similar distance to other maps on Train Sim World, it takes some time. It takes about an hour to get from one end to the other because of the slow speed. So it'd be more about having a consistency about it, so you don't majorly lose momentum. I've noticed with some sections that when you notch up or notch back, sometimes it's, you know, say 3.3, like it'll be 3, sometimes 3.3, 3.5, but not always. There seems to be a couple of extra steps. So you think that there's, what do I say, by looking at that you think, oh, you know, 10 full notches plus a half notches, so that's 20 notches, but then there's 3.3, so you've got more control at a slower speed, more notches for the slower speed, because that's what you're mainly doing. Go outside for a moment. Oh, how good does that look, seriously? Whoops. we're on a 6% uphill grade at the moment. It's fairly significant. And we've still got 4.4 kilometres before our next stop. Now in this section you can understand why there's not so many stops. Steady at the moment. That's all we're doing. Basically keeping to this speed. As we just continue to go up the hill. We are on cruise control at the moment because we're in just cruising along. We've got a kilometre to go before our next signal, 3.5 kilometres before our next stop, 1 kilometre to our next speed zone change, which is minimal. This is so good, and this is so different to anything else that's been on Train Sim World so far, which is fantastic. A little bit later on, don't be surprised if they add the electric multiple unit that's in Train Simulator. Don't be surprised if that comes out as an extra piece of as an extra train to buy. We went back from 3.3 to 3.0. And we're maintaining our 30 quite nicely. Yeah, here we go. Our grade's slight, we're reducing them, it's up again. So 6% climb. Did lose a bit of speed there as we went back to not 3.0 instead of 3.3. Outside scenery for a while, because we're just basically keeping it to the 30 kilometres an hour at the moment. So you're not on this sort of train because you're in a rush to get somewhere. You know, you're on this train, you know you're in the Swiss Alps, you know that it's steep, windy, could be snowing. Actually, it'll be interesting. I think we're about to go in the tunnel. Yeah, we are. It'll be interesting to see what it looks like in summer, actually. And thanks to the wonders of technology and whatnot, you can actually set it for summer if it actually looks like, you know, there's no snow on the mountains or whatever. I guess we'll find out, and we'll do that on a different episode. We're still 600 or so metres away from our next station stop. About 400 metres away and we're to the third station to cut the power a bit. Just taking a couple of notches off really reduces the power significantly without even the need to brake, you know, in the conventional braking sense. Waiting for a single line section. Haven't even started the brake yet. This is all just by using the control wheel. The control wheel now off. Now we can get into a little bit of vacuum brake. We're a bit short. Exiting the cab. I guess we're about to find out.
that is the basics covered. A manual can also be obtained that explains the full functionality and features of this locomotive.
Alright, so there we go. We have done the tutorial. We have done the...
Welcome to Switzerland! Take control of a true icon of Swiss motive power over the incredibly picturesque Arosa line. Deliver passengers to the many stations of the mountainous railway out of Switzerland's oldest town, Chur. Wind your way through the streets or take in the breathtaking scenery of the Swiss Alps and its many peaks and valleys. With challenging grades to conquer, your passengers are waiting for a sightseeing tour to remember. Along the way, don't forget to place route maps, collect snow globes, trigger cameras, and collect ibex toys. Welcome to the Arosa line.
And that's what we'll be doing on the next episode. That's exactly what we'll be doing. This was a mere introduction. So level 3 on the Arosa line, and also this rolling stock, me in general level 17. So there we go. We have completed our first episode. Now let's have a look. Next scenario. Let's just have a look at it to preview what we'll be doing on the next episode. Maybe we shouldn't have, because it goes to a loading screen. But how good was that? And I'm really looking forward to the next episode, so we can do the whole trip from one end to the other. Anywho, I've been Simulated Erk. You've been wonderful. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye bye for now. Don't forget, trains on Thursdays, trams, buses and trucks on Tuesdays, and planes on Fridays. I'm Simulated Erk. I'm out of here. Kings and